Hello everyone, welcome to General Sciences Biology Module 37. Today's lesson is on the human respiratory system. I'm Ritrisha from GKToday and I'll be taking you through this. Respiration is the entire process of taking air in, exchanging needed gases for unnecessary gases, and releasing the waste form of gases. The human respiratory system consists of the following parts and is divided into the upper and lower respiratory tracts. Firstly, the upper respiratory tract, it has the following parts: mouth, nose and nasal cavity. The nostril acts as the air intake, bringing air into the nose, where it's warmed and humidified. Tiny hairs called cilia protect the nasal passageways and other parts of the respiratory tract, filtering out dust and other particles. Pharynx is the part of the digestive system as well as the respiratory system because it carries both food and air. Larynx, also known as the voice box because it is where sound is generated, helps protect the trachea by producing strong cuff reflex if any solid object passes through the epiglottis. Next, we have the lower respiratory tract. It has the trachea or windpipe. It carries air from the throat into the lungs. The inner membrane of the trachea is covered with cilia. The trachea is surrounded by 15 to 20 C-shaped rings of cartilage at the front and side which help protect the trachea and keep it open. Bronchi are the tubes that the trachea divides into. There are two tubes, each going into one lung. Bronchioles. Tertiary bronchi continue to divide and become bronchioles, very narrow tubes less than 1 millimeter in diameter. There is no cartilage within the bronchioles and they lead to alveolar sacs. Now, alveoli, or they are individual hollow cavities contained within the alveolar sacs. Now, alveoli have very thin walls which permit the exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide. They are surrounded by the network of capillaries through which these gases pass. Thorax or chest cavity, it is the airtight box that houses the bronchial tree, lungs, heart and other structures. Bronchial tree is the two bronchioles leading to the lung connected with the bronchi. The top and the side of the thorax are formed by the ribs and attached muscles, and the bottom is formed by a large muscle called the diaphragm. This diaphragm is located right below the lungs. It is a large dome-shaped muscle that contracts rhythmically and continually, and most of the time involuntarily. Upon inhalation of air, the diaphragm contracts and flattens the chest cavity, which enlarges and pulls air into the lungs. On exhaling, the diaphragm relaxes and returns to its dome-like shape, and the air is forced out. Now, the steps in respiration are breathing or pulmonary ventilation, by which atmospheric air is drawn in and carbon dioxide-rich alveolar air is released out. Diffusion of gases across alveolar membrane is done next. Then gases are transported by blood. Then they are diffused between blood and tissue and finally utilized by the cells for catabolic reactions and resultant release of carbon dioxide. Now, in a process called diffusion, oxygen moves from the alveoli to the blood through the capillaries lining the alveolar walls. Blood has a massive capacity to dissolve oxygen, and much more oxygen can dissolve in blood than could dissolve in the same amount of water. This is because blood contains hemoglobin, a specialized protein that binds to oxygen in the lungs so that oxygen can be transported to the rest of the body. This oxygen-rich blood then flows back to the heart, which pumps it through the arteries to oxygen-hungry tissues throughout the body. In the tiny capillaries of the body tissues, oxygen is freed from the hemoglobin in the blood and moves into the cell. Carbon dioxide, which is produced during the process of diffusion, moves out of the cells into the capillaries, where most of it is dissolved in the plasma of the blood. Blood rich in carbon dioxide then returns to the heart via veins. From the heart, this blood is pumped to the lungs, where carbon dioxide passes into the alveoli to be exhaled. That's all for this tutorial. If you like this, please subscribe to our YouTube channel GK Today. Until the next tutorial, goodbye.